Welcome everyone to the Freestyle Chess Tournament in South Africa. We have the World Cup winner Javokhir Sindarov playing with the white pieces here. He's fresh from a huge victory in India, reaching the candidates, becoming the FIDE World Cup champion. And he takes on the winner of the previous World Cup in 2023 and the best player on the planet, Magnus Carlsen, in the first round itself. And this is going to be a super exciting clash, but let's first understand the position. So we see here the rook, knight, bishop and rook are in the same position as standard chess, which means that if I can bring my knight out to f3, then in the next move I can already short castle, which leads to a very standard position of chess. And then I could potentially also push my pawn to d4. Let's just imagine I push my pawn to c4, and then, for example, I'm just making random moves from black side. I get my knight to c3. This you can already feel that it's resembling some kind of a d4 opening. So players can actually try and get to such a position in this way, to a standard chess position, but they could also play something totally offbeat like a4, e4, h4, and that would be very interesting to see how they approach this position. Javokhir with the white pieces opens the game with e4, and it's very interesting to see that the queen has now opened up, the knight can come forward, and Magnus can play the symmetrical e5 here. You can see Magnus pouring himself a glass of water, and he's taking his time. It's 10 minutes plus 5 seconds increment, and Magnus loves doing this. He loves to calm himself down at the board, and he plays his pawn to e5. Javokhir plays c3, trying to open up the position with d4, also his bishop protecting the e4 pawn. And we have pawn to d5. So the idea of this move is that it opens up the queen for a check. Pawn takes pawn, a queen check to b5 here. And this one is a dangerous way in which Magnus is playing here. Queen e2, he takes on d5, but this is early development of the queen. And Sindarov goes knight e3, attacks the queen, and he's asking Magnus, what do you want to do? Let's say a move like queen here, bishop f5, and you lose a piece. So you can't do these things so easily. And Magnus goes back to d7, knight comes out to f3, attacking the pawn on e5. And now also with the threat of d4 lurking somewhere, pawn to c5 played. Magnus opens up the bishop to protect here, also prevents a move like d4. Sindarov is thinking now how to play. He can castle here, he can play his knight to c4, but he goes pawn to d4. Wow, what a move by Javokhir Sindarov. Epic stuff here by the youngster. He opens up the position for the bishop here, and now after pawn takes pawn, he takes back. Pawn takes pawn. Very interesting stuff. And now if you take pawn takes pawn, which I guess Magnus wants to do, you can't take here, of course, you lose a piece. But knight to f5, that would be an epic move. He plays it, he goes for it, and I'm amazed by the way in which Javokhir is playing here. I think you can defend the pawn with knight c6, that's what Magnus has done. But how to get this bishop into the game? Over here on this diagonal, maybe not so great squares, but there's a beautiful square on a3, and Sindarov finds it. b3, what a move. Bishop is coming here now. Very important for Magnus to play bishop d6. It's a tough move because you will give up the bishop. He goes knight e7, but now Sindarov can simply pin it here. Pin it to win it. I mean, this doesn't look great. And Javokhir, he's ready with his move. I pretty much feel that he sees it. Bishop a3, found. Wow, amazing chess here by Sindarov, pinning the knight on e7. And Magnus Carlsen now has to decide where to go. He can't castle, he would love to, he would lose a piece simply. It's not so simple. Maybe g6 here to kick the knight away, but then I'll just simply take it, and then still there remains this very deep pin in the position. He goes queen d8. That's not a move that one would imagine Magnus to be making, but he wants to take this knight out on f5. That's his plan. And Sindarov now has a very nice move. You can see him. He's ready. He's sharp. Knight takes d4. If you take on d4, e7 is hanging. If you take on f5, it's an illegal move. If you take here on f5, I'll take it with the knight. So beautiful chess here by Sindarov. Man, this guy is so sharp. Bishop takes f5. Not a move that Magnus makes happily. He's like, what am I doing here? Magnus Carlsen with 1 minute 43 seconds. Knight takes f5 taken by Javokhir. Pawn to g6 played. And now this opens up this entire diagonal here. So he takes knight e7. Knight takes on e7. Taken. And the difficulty here for Magnus, of course, is that his knight is pinned. He cannot move his king. White can castle, bring the rook in to put even more pressure. But there's this idea of bishop d6 that White wants to play. And so Javokhir can actually, castle here. Bishop d6 can be met with rook d1. That could be potentially an idea, but he goes bishop e4. He attacks the pawn on b7. I love this move. Bishop d6, rook d1, and Magnus chops off on a3, giving up his queen. And now Sindarov has an extra queen for a rook and bishop takes on b7. He chops off the pawn on b7, and White is ready to castle now. That's the most important thing. His king is also not so weak. And Sindarov castles here. He remembers that his king and rook haven't moved yet. And what a great game this has been from White. Just absolutely stunning. Short castles here. And now Javokhir comes back. Bishop e4. He's attacking the knight on f5. Knight to d4. And the queen moves in. The queen enters on c4, putting pressure on the knight on d4 and rook e8. Magnus trying to resist here. Somehow he hopes that he could turn this around. Bishop d5 played, attacking the f7 pawn. Knight e2 check. King goes to h1. And now rook to e7. Magnus is used to kind of being able to save such positions if his opponent get a bit scared here. Bishop f7 is a nice move. Rook f7, queen e2. But the thing is, Sindarov is so high on confidence right now. I'm pretty sure that he's not going to miss anything here. And boom, he takes it. Bishop f7, and Magnus is shaking his head. He's like, what the hell am I playing here? bd5 comes back. And now pawn to a5 played. And there are many ways in which White can finish off the game, but maybe g3 is such a beautiful move. He wants to bring his king up slowly, and bishop to b4. And now king g2, a useful move to just improve the king's position. Shows so much maturity here, Javokhir Sindarov. And there was a point when these players would get super excited when they had winning position against Magnus, but I believe not anymore. For them now, beating Magnus is something that they would want to do, love to do it. And they believe that they can do it. That's the most important thing. Rook d1 played. And now knight to c3, attacking the rook on d1 and the bishop. So rook d5, threatening rook c3, bishop c3, queen c3, check. So Magnus now can either take here or go rook d7. But rook d7, you just lose the knight. So it takes on d5, rook takes on d5, and rook e6 played. And how do you finish this off is the question. Maybe rook d7, just take, and resigns here after rook d3. He resigns this game. Magnus Carlsen was outwitted from move number 3 actually by Javokhir Sindarov, who played this game from start to finish in such amazing fashion. Congratulations to the youngster who won it on his 20th birthday. Yes, 8th of December was Javokhir's 20th birthday and he managed to beat Magnus Carlsen.